Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Training, Learning, and Development community. Happy Monday to you all. We've got a special community showcase with one of our newer members, Cheryl Oberlin. Cheryl, thanks for joining us today and just being our guest and being willing to participate in this crazy broadcast that where we kind of explore a lot more about you and who you are. And,
crazy is good. Thanks for having me.
And before we get started, just want to thank some of the folks that are in already. There are a lot of people already in today. Cheryl, you must have a lot of friends.
Got my Chatty Addies group from the e-learning launch class.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
We've got Karen and Kim, Dawn, Christiana, Avi's in, Quetzal, Kristen, Betty, Alex. Oh, Alex is here. Look out.
Yeah.
Kenisha, Martin, Rance. Oh my gosh. JG, Hillary, Janine, Rakesh, Jessica, Erica. Oh man. Big group. Usually it starts out with maybe like 3 or 4 people and then it just goes from there. Wow. But look at you. Look at you.
Well, I'm honored to have all these people hanging out with me today.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this.
All right, so this is the format of it is this is a member showcase. We're going to talk about Cheryl today, and I have about a dozen questions in the ask a question section at the bottom of the screen. Okay. If anybody wants to add additional questions, feel free to do so. We don't want to stump Cheryl too much. But I just want to say Cheryl has been so incredibly outgoing and friendly. It's been just a pleasure making your connection on social media. And it's just, you've always got just really positive, wonderful things to say. So I really appreciate
small town people. You know, we were raised right and brought up with good moral values, and we try to echo that everywhere we go.
I love it. I love it. All right. So, people are voting up some of the questions. Usually we don't get any votes on these. So I think we're just going to go for it and go with whatever is top voted and go from there. All right. So, oh, geez, look at that. It's changing as I'm saying that. All right, Cheryl, let's start with this one. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Oh, this is a funny one. This was actually at the end of a contract termination. You know, we had fulfilled the contract, and I had a boss who was a Marine, very scary COO, and she told me that I was being way too nice to people and that I did not have to help everybody who came in the door. I'm like, is that it? That's the bad stuff? She's like, yeah, you spend entirely too much time trying to help people. I'm like, okay, I'll take that if that's the worst thing you have. It's a good and a bad thing, you know. I'm like, I must be doing something right.
Did you change your behavior after that?
No, it's kind of hard to do after 50 some years.
Oh, that's a good one, coming from a Marine no less. That's
right,
amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. She's very routine, and she didn't like my humor as much as I did. The CEO did, so we were good.
Yeah. So, you have been an instructional designer for a number of years. How long have you been doing instructional design?
I've been doing that since 2008, and I'm working on some upskilling right now because, as you know, I've probably been in education mostly. So I'm learning more about the corporate world now with Alex. And I'm also taking some basic idle classes. So I have, the kind of skill set on the business side too. It's been a while. And I just love doing that. I like making sure that, the learner is covered and they have everything they need in a class.
Yeah. And you've got project management skills.
I do.
That's one of the primaries that you mentioned in your profile.
Yeah.
How'd you come about that?
Sorry. I started out back in high school with special events. I wanted to bring somebody who was sponsored by Anheuser-Busch to my high school. And I called St. Louis and they said, well, you have to call your wholesaler. And I'm like, who the heck is that? So they told me, and I didn't make any connection with the last name being Bush to Anheuser-Busch. I just called the guy, went in and met with him. And he said, okay, I'm going to give you the $3,000 for your event, but I also want to give you a job for the summer. I'm like, dude, I don't want a job. I just want your money. What are you doing to me? So I felt bad. We ended up I had to go around an Eagle Snack route on Lake Okeechobee in Florida. And, it was so hot and yucky, but it taught me about sales. And then at the end of the summer, I came in and said, okay, that was horrible. I'll still work for you, but you have to bring me inside and put me in marketing. So
Mm.
instead, he trained me in like all the positions. So I spent time in supply chain learning how to forecast beer and count inventory. Back then, we didn't have a scanner, so I had to hand count it at 5 in the morning. And we went to the mechanic shop, went to promotions, and then eventually I moved inside and became his executive project manager. My business cards actually had executive slave child on them because I did everything. There was like nothing encompassing. So I just did whatever he needed.
Hmm.
He had a lot of subsidiary companies. So we had a real estate company, we had a scuba shop, we had a t-shirt company, had a wildlife organization, and a film company. So I worked under all those things and
Oh
managed
my gosh, that is
projects for
a
all of
lot.
them. Yeah. So I was able to write grants and learn how to do foundation work with philanthropy and manage budgets. And I managed all of his monies, personal bills. And so it was a lot of fun. You never knew what the day brought. I mean, I have crazy credits with Turner Broadcasting System for filming a wildlife reintroduction wolf video back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fun stuff that, you normally wouldn't have.
And then somehow it led you to this crazy career in instructional design.
Yep, I worked for NCR for a number of years as a project manager, marketing manager,
Mhm.
and I hated cube life. So my boss said, "Hey, why don't I make you a contractor and you can do all the same things you do now? I'll pay you more." And I'm like, "Great, where do I sign?" So I
Yeah.
did that for about 10 years and I worked on negotiating article reprint rights, localization of collateral,
Mhm.
promotions. So that was all fun stuff.
Wow.
Executive scheduling for conference events.
Mhm.
Learned a lot there. And
Gosh.
then I decided I wanted to learn about education. I wanted to teach people and share these crazy stories with them.
Mhm.
So I kind of went that route.
Wow. Is there anything you wish you had known when you started out?
Yes, that you don't need 5 college degrees to figure out what you like to do best. My kids call me academic letter collectors
Mhm.
because I have 5, but I also have a bazillion dollars worth of student loan debt. Um, but I used it as therapy.
Yeah.
It was a good place to learn and a good
Yeah.
place to grow.
Wow. Yeah, no, I was going through your LinkedIn profile and I'm like, wait a minute. She's got a BA in communication. She's got
Yeah,
an MBA. You've got all this stuff.
I do. I do. And then now I'm in, Alex and Idle because I can't get enough of learning, right?
Not a bad place to be.
Not a
Excellent.
bad. Yep.
But if you weren't an L&D professional, what do you think
Mhm.
you'd be?
I would probably be a foundation director for a philanthropy foundation because I had so much fun with the Bushes as far as just investing in projects that nobody talks about because, they really don't want credit for it, right? So
Mhm.
when I first started there, we did a project for Christmas for the migrant workers' kids. And
Mhm.
we started out with like one class, like 30 kids. And by the time I left there 15 years later, we were getting gifts for children for Christmas for 200 kids. And I'd
Mhm.
spend about $20 each. We had
Mhm.
one entire beer warehouse that would be like a toy shop. My
Yeah.
dad put the batteries in all the toys and tested them. My
Uh,
mom wrapped things up.
mm,
People had to come down and wrap something on their break. And it was just a lot of fun.
wow, Cheryl. I mean, it sounds like that would be kind of the perfect situation for you. I mean, if you have event experience, if you're
I
into
do.
education, if you've got the project management experience, absolutely. I could totally see that. Well, that's
It's all
probably
fun
your
stuff.
future. I think it's kind of almost inevitable, I would think. That's great. If how about is there one thing that people should know about you?
I just am really, I like to mentor students. I just like to be kind and help share some of my lessons learned or successes with them to kind of guide them a little bit so they don't make the same mistakes or they can have some of the great successes too. I actually
Mhm.
have a mentor conversation on Wednesday set up for one of the girls that used to work with me at Wright State University a few years ago.
Mhm.
She's considering going into ID, so we're going to have a conversation.
Oh, I guess that's Jessica. She just posted in there. That's
Yep, that's
me.
Jessica. Yep.
Oh, that's great. So you function as a mentor as well.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about teaching was that my classes, I taught English and speech, so they were always a little bit different than everybody else's. I taught at
Hmm.
a community college and a university, and at the community college, the other teachers all focused on like a country or something specific and serious.
Hmm.
And my classes were always fun. They could write about whatever they wanted, they could talk about whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
We reviewed Anheuser-Busch ads, to determine what kind of writing style they had, persuasive style. And then they could bring in whatever props they wanted for speech. So I had a student bring in his basset hound and the litter because he knew I loved bassets. One brought in his dirt bike, so we all went out to the parking lot and he did his presentation there. And they learn just as much doing it the fun way, and they
Hmm.
actually enjoy it more than
Hmm.
they do talking about France or whatever the country is that they get assigned.
Right. Right. Oh, that's great. That's great. So, is there anything that keeps you inspired? Is there a who or a what that keeps you inspired?
Sure, my dad, he was a fantastic
Wow.
storyteller.
Yeah.
He just passed away this summer. We were very lucky to have him for 90 years.
Wow.
And he never met a stranger in his life. We kind of joked that when he and I would go out together to usually get him dessert because he can kind of have that at home.
Uh,
We would talk to people, just find people to talk to, and we would joke that we had like a stamp on our head that says "You can talk to me" or have a conversation. And I kind of developed a storytelling. I talk to people too. I don't think I've ever met a stranger, and love doing so. And he just really taught us to listen to people and help them when you can. And then I'm also really inspired by my own family.
yeah. Nice. Nice. Oh, and Kristen's saying here, Cheryl, that totally shines through in every interaction I've had with you. So,
Oh, thank you. I'll
I know, isn't that great?
try.
So, as an instructional designer, what is your favorite part of being an instructional designer?
Playing with the cool tools. I
Yeah.
had a lot of fun over the weekend creating a journey map in Alex's class, just kind of explaining where I started out in the summer and where I ended up. And I did it in Beyond. I also used Camtasia, and I used PictureMonkey and Canva. And
Hmm.
it was a lot of fun. The only thing that I need is a clip from Alex that says, "Aloha, I'm Alex," because I took the verbiage kind of like from the Fast Times at Ridgemont High, a movie, and he didn't even get it. I had to explain it to him today. Now he gets it.
There you go. It's okay, Alex. You gotta fill that. We need a clip from you.
Yep.
That's great. Yeah, and I'm just going to throw this out here because last night when I was putting together the latest TLDC newsletter, I actually ran into this clip from Jonathan Rock from J Rock
Yeah.
on
Hmm.
how to make. I don't know if you saw that one, but anyone
Mm.
that gets the newsletter, take a look at that little YouTube clip that he did because that was fun. I actually ended up like doing it in PowerPoint. It was basically making like
Cool.
this circular arrow on PowerPoint. Anyway, I just want to
Cool.
throw that out there because I had a lot of fun doing that.
I love doing those creative projects too. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah, you kinda gotta let yourself, just sort of play around with that kind of
Yeah.
thing every once in a while.
And
So it
it's
sounds like you're
different.
kind of a little bit of an authoring geek too
I
at this.
am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I have a hidden pen name on Medium, and that's
Mhm,
just basically so I can tell some stories without identifying a lot of people. Because I have a
mhm.
lot of material, that's for sure. My relatives always say I could write novels. And I'm like, well, you got to be a little more disciplined than I am for that. But I
Interesting.
do write some articles every now and then. And I really feel good about the last 12 years at Quality Matters. I've helped over 2,000 people learn how to design online courses, whether that's just through the classes that I taught or actually drilling them down and giving a lot of feedback to them on how they can help review somebody else's course
Yeah,
to ensure that it's quality and just has the pieces and parts that students need to be successful.
that's fascinating. What was your biggest challenge there?
My biggest challenge at QM,
Yeah.
oh, teachers are the worst students ever. They constantly turn things in late. They
Uh-huh.
miss just totally blow the deadlines. They want, special consideration because of X, Y, and Z. And yeah, they're entertaining, that's for sure. And usually I can just turn it back on them with, kind of some reverse psychology and say, now, if this was in your class, what would you tell the student if he hadn't turned anything for the entire semester, and then the night before he does 30 assignments and turns them in? What would you say? So
Wow.
usually they kind of get it after that. But
Oh
I
my
do
God.
get a lot of thank you notes from people who, don't really think about phrasing their feedback to their colleagues in a sensitive manner, because
Yeah.
they just want to say, fix this and fix that, and this is wrong. And, so I kind of tell them that's not going to work. They're not going to make those improvements if they think you're just giving them a critique. So you've
Wow.
got to rephrase it so that you show that you're helping them and you're helping the student.
Uh-huh.
And then that usually is better received.
So you're saying that, okay, you have like a higher ed background as
Hmm.
well, and now you're like kind of been working on the corporate side of things.
Yeah.
Is that typical? Like, say, the difference between teachers and, say, instructional designers. Like, is there?
No, I think it's, I don't know. A few of us have fled from education, Kara being one of them. She's in
Yeah,
corporate now, right? And
yeah,
it's funny because 20 years ago I said I fled from corporate. So it's kind of back and forth. I think you mix, all the strengths and a few of the weaknesses that you bring in whatever project you're looking for. But it does seem that folks who have been in education do make really good instructional designers, and not just because of the eye for design. You can be taught that, of course, but it's just really because they know what to put in a course to ensure
mhm,
the student is successful.
yeah,
And you can do the same thing with business needs. What do you put in the course to make sure the goals are realized? What do the learners have to do? And I think, most teachers do have a plan. They have a lesson planned, or they've created syllabi, and it makes it a lot easier when they switch over to BNID.
yeah. The one thing that I see, that a common quality that, for educators, that I see that really kind of drives them to being more successful is just that level of empathy.
Hmm.
You
Absolutely.
know, and I get that from you
Oh, thank you.
when we communicate and stuff. I'm like, okay, she sort of has that, and I don't know, that was just an interesting realization that I had a while ago. I'm like, it's just that feeling of empathy, and just all around. I think that is becoming. It feels like it's been on social media. It's been kind of a rare thing for
Yes. Yeah.
people to have like empathy with one another,
Yeah.
and so I just sort of wanted to highlight that, because I
Oh,
know
thank
when
you.
I'm speaking to you, you definitely have that. Is there a particular project that you'd like to brag about right now? Something you were proud of?
Yeah, I think it's recently it's the 2,000 people
Yeah.
that I've taught how to design online courses, because, I have so many people come through my classes who are administrators and chairs,
Hmm.
um, just department heads, and they all have PhDs, right? So immediately they all think they know what I'm going to teach them, and they don't. So on the fourth day, we put out an announcement called the process of learning, which kind of reminds them, hey, you haven't been in an educational place as a learner in a long, long time. I know you're smart, but this is going to take some effort on your part for you to learn. And some people get angry at it and feel that they're, being talked down to, but most people just really embrace that and realize, oh, it's okay. I don't get this. I can ask questions. And then they'll put in a little more extra effort when you do that.
Nice. Very nice. Okay, so we'll go back a little bit to
Mhm.
you being kind of playing around with some e-learning development.
Yeah.
Is
Mhm.
there a tool or service that you don't currently have that you wish you did?
Yeah, I would like Adobe Captivate, because I only have, I've dealt with it a little bit. I really deal with some of the other tools more. I use the Articulate all the time, and the Beyond, and the Animoto. And I want a Mac. I
Yeah.
have a PC, so, and I don't know why I want a Mac. I just, think that it's artsy and I should have one.
Oh yeah. Okay. That could turn into a dangerous question in here, but
I need a Mac. But for now, I'll keep the PC.
no, I can tell you right now, like, I was just straight up a Windows guy for the longest time. And then once I started working for
Switch.
my current employer, they handed me a 2019 MacBook, and they said, get to
There you
work. And I'm
go.
like, okay. But I fly on that thing. I'm so much
Yeah,
faster on a Mac than I am on
yeah,
Windows, and so my Windows stuff is just slowly starting to
that's
disappear.
what I've heard.
How would your best friend describe what you do for a living?
Well, I asked him that last night because this is my husband, and he said that I play around on the computer a lot and I make a lot of tweaks and edits because I'm a perfectionist.
Mm.
He didn't mention anything about the cursing, but I do that when I can't fix something.
So let's talk about. I want to know more about you being a perfectionist.
Oh,
Does
okay.
that get in the way?
Well, like in the Beyond video that I was doing over the weekend, I had to just listen over and over and over to the Fast Times clip so I could get the vibe of it just right in the one that I was doing. And then Alex still didn't get it. So
Yeah.
you say to try a little harder, I guess.
Darn it. Darn
Or
you,
have a
Alex.
better audience. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put it up on LinkedIn today. You guys can all watch it.
Would love it. I would love it, and I'll link it into the show notes.
Yeah,
Is
okay.
there is there anything that you wish you were particularly good at as far as education and instructional design is concerned?
Um, let's see. Probably just going through and proofing and polishing it just to make sure I check everything. I had the folks in my Chatty Gaddies team from Alex's course take a look at my website. I made some changes to it last night,
Mhm.
and they went there and looked at it and made sure all the links worked and everything. So I just really appreciate having those second set of eyes because once you start looking at things so many times, it just kind of looks like it should be right, especially when you get tired.
I don't know if I've looked at your website. Did you send it to me? I want to see your
Probably.
website.
It's just my name, CherylOberlin.com.
Okay, I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
check it out. I may have. I've been looking at a
Yeah.
lot of portfolios lately, so
There's some old stuff there. There's some new stuff there. I've got more new stuff to put in, and of course, I can't put in all the QM stuff because of just logo violations now. So I've taken that. I've kind of took that information down, but you'll see the clips that I did way back with U.S. Fish and Wildlife there for the project in Yellowstone, and there's a lot of branding videos and branding campaign that I did for Wright State University. Those are all there.
yeah. Okay, cool. So let me ask you. This one wasn't in the list I sent you, but you've got. Let's see. I know you. Do you have a degree in English
I
for some?
do, yeah. I
Okay,
have a
so English
master's of.
comps. You have an MBA. You're a project
Mhm.
manager. What has helped you the most, do you think, as far as your instructional design career? Is there any particular topic that you studied that might have been more beneficial than others?
It's a communication, definitely
Yeah.
interpersonal communications. I signed my niece up for that since her freshman year in college, and she's like, "Why do I need this? Why do I need to know how to communicate?" I'm like, "Well, because you have issues with your family, right? This will help them know how to communicate with you, and you how to communicate with them a little bit better." And she's starting to get it a little bit. But that definitely the interpersonal, just kind of to listen and um, have empathy, like you said, kind of see what people need, how you can help them, and
Yeah.
kind of make a plan to do that.
Anything? What are you working on right now to what are you working on to get better at right now?
I'm doing the corporate ID, just kind of learning about storyboarding and learning objectives there. Alex kind of blew me out of the water in the first couple of days because, I thought I have this learning objective thing. I got it because I've been doing this at QM for 12 years. And
Yeah.
then I found out that the learning objectives are totally different in corporate. So I'll never forget that now. I got it. I think I got it now, but definitely needed to learn some information on the differences of corporate and education.
Wow. Is there a quick way you can describe that?
You mean the differences?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the corporate is on business needs, and education is, that by the end of this course, you will learn how to X, Y, Z. And but the information that I know from Bloom's is still applicable to both, so that's good.
Mhm.
It's not wasted. Just kind of a different hat, different spin on things when you're um, working for corporate because you want to make sure that people can realize the goals in order to perform whatever it is they're being taught, mostly if it relates to their job role. And then, secondly, that the business is able to realize the goals, whether they be monetary or just any ROI.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome. That's excellent. All right. So, I've got a couple questions in here from Rakesh.
Okay.
Should we give them a try? They're a little bit more on the
Sure.
technical side, and let's see.
I'm an open book. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know anything about, but let's see what happens. Project managers often mention agile Scrum principles.
Hmm.
Is that a prerequisite for instructional designers?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Yeah.
It can help certainly, and it depends on if you go into a corporate environment where they subscribe, to those specific frameworks. But it's not
Mhm.
something that you have to have.
Yeah. I don't think, definitely not a prerequisite anyway.
No.
Very nice. And let's see. He's also asking if you have any tips or tricks for video scripts.
I just have always loved to write. So you can actually listen to a lot of the scripts in education, listen to the clips, listen to how people have, how they write and how they speak information, kind of learn from that. I've gained a lot from listening to people on podcasts and just how they present things.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of positive podcasts out there. I kind of find my ID tribe, I call them, on LinkedIn this summer. So I start off every day with a positive podcast. This morning I talked to listened to Devlin. And yesterday it was Kath Ellis, and
Mhm.
often Kara's in there too.
Yeah, nice. Last week we talked to Lee Lefevre, and
Mhm.
Lee has that website, the Common Craft website. He has a link to like a course that is related to his book, The Art of Explanation. And so, Rakesh, if you're interested at all, his focus was really, when he was talking, he thinks that a lot of his success comes from his ability to write,
Yeah.
and he produces just these incredible explainer videos. So I took that really seriously, and I was checking out some of the content he had, and it looks really, really good. So I think that would be a good resource for you, Rakesh.
One of the
And
things I always told my English students is find something that you're passionate about it and write. This is why I gave them pretty much free rein on their essays and their speeches, because they could dive into something more if they actually cared about the subject versus just, creating a script on something that they really don't have an interest in. So I would say that too.
totally, I can't agree more. I used to be the kind of guy. I have an English degree. I used to write all the time.
Yeah.
I worked at a hotel, and it wasn't a very busy hotel,
Mhm.
so I had a lot of time to sit there at the front desk and just write.
Yeah.
And I think that was a period of time that I was thinking the most clearly. And so I totally agree. Now, Kristen has a question. I think this is going to
Okay.
be the last question of the broadcast.
Okay.
It's a good one. With all of your student experience, what's your advice on how to be a good student?
Uh,
Good one.
read and listen. Listen is key. Active listening, whether it's, the video, the podcast, or, just the directions. I have so many folks that totally skim over the directions because they just know they know what to do. And then they find out they totally have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So reading and listening, back to the basic interpersonal communication skills.
There you go. That's excellent. And that's all the questions I have for you, Cheryl. And we've
Thank
hit our
you.
30-minute mark. This was fantastic. I'm
I
so
appreciate
glad
you
I
having
finally
me.
get to talk to you. Yeah, I'm. Thanks for supporting TLDC.
Sure.
Thanks.
Tomorrow's my new journeys. QM and I are amicably going our different ways, so I can start something new and challenging. So if you guys have any great ideas for projects or project manager positions, let me know.
Definitely. I also put some opportunities in the last newsletter, like
Yeah.
right at the top there. There are a few people in the Slack group that we're looking for that are looking for
Yeah.
help. So you guys keep an eye on that stuff. If anything else comes across my way, Cheryl, I will definitely, sort of
Yeah,
send
that
it
is super
your
helpful. I
direction.
appreciate it. And like
Yeah,
I said, I
yeah,
visit with some folks tomorrow about a potential position, so I'm really excited about that.
yeah. I mean, with your background and the variety of skills you have, you'd be a fool not to pick you up right away. I
Oh, thank you.
just saying,
I appreciate that. That makes my bean counter husband feel much better.
All right, you guys. Thanks everyone for
Thanks. I
joining us
appreciate
today.
it. See you guys on LinkedIn.
Again, thanks. And we'll see you next one Wednesday. You guys, Kara North. They're going to be on our member showcase on Wednesday. So you guys sign up for that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. I get to, I'm going to try to stump Kara, I think, on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, we've got a couple more. We've got Mike Peacock that is going to be talking about digital file organization. And he's like a media specialist. So that's going to be really good. Everyone needs that skill.
I might really need to listen to that one.
Yeah. And then Alan's here on Friday talking about green screening and PowerPoint. I mean, who would have thunk? Right. So,
Cool.
All right, you guys.
Good. See you Wednesday. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.